CHICKEN. Use the code CHICKEN in the shop.
Hey guys, the Chicken's here. Welcome back to another Boom Beach video. In today's video, guys, we have your Season 65 Tides of Heroes sneak peek, and we got two very special guests. We have the best warship player in the world, Mr. Stoneheart, on the call today, and my very good friend, Mr. Opdestroy. How are you guys doing?
Stone, go ahead.
Hey,
first.
Chicken. What's going on?
What up, Chicken? My homie, who I've never met yet. Well, actually, I did in Finland. My bad.
Yeah, we did a couple times with you. Either way, glad to have you guys on. And honestly, I haven't really looked at this season too much yet, but I think it's going to be a lot of fun to take a look and break it down. So we're going to go over the decks, we're going to go over the stats, we're going to go over the entire tech tree. So why don't we start out with the season stats, just to give everybody kind of an idea when we look over the tech tree about what we're kind of dealing with here and why the paths make sense. So I'll throw these up on the screen right now. Now, these are not really the final stats because we've got a bunch of negative nodes. We got a few different multi-stat nodes in here. So just to give you kind of an idea of what we're working with, low building health, no GBE, moderate building damage, and potentially a lot of troop damage and pretty minimal troop health. So not a lot on the stat menu. What do you guys think? Starting with OP.
You know what, man? I like dicey kind of like mystery, like what's gonna happen with this kind of tree and the stats and especially GB, right? Especially if you need that for gunboat abilities and whatnot and hero abilities and yada yada. But I'm always excited. I'll get it. I'll weather it, and I'm gonna enjoy it no matter what. But yeah, it'll be different. It's slightly different.
Yeah, no GB is we for sure don't really see that.
So
But having more troop damage could go for some more fun hits. But not a lot of troop health, so people who aren't a fan of Seekers might be a little happy there.
That's me. That's the Chicken. Okay, so stats out of the way. We got a really interesting opening start here, guys. We have 4 heroes right out of the gate. We got warriors. We got grenadiers. My initial thoughts on this opening is it's kind of wacky, and Stone pointed out that the engine rooms are, for whatever reason, this season they're less keys. Typically, what did you say? It was Stone. The 3 ER is usually 36 keys, right?
Yeah, like 36 or 4 ERs like 65. Now it's just 60.
Yeah, so we get to save a little bit of keys, which is kind of nice. But I think when we get the heroes like this, it's really important to plan for like the long term, so you're not just kind of opening up everything. But yeah, why don't you kick it off? It'll be the opening path to 3 ER.
well, you can see here that without getting a hero and maxing everything like the Grens, which I don't know if you whatever, but you already hit 300 tech, so you're already able to go 3 ER with even out a hero. You don't even need to get a hero. We know these heroes. We don't see Captain Rudy this season. So wherever he's probably on vacation somewhere. But like we all know that these heroes have their own special, unique abilities, right? And you got Brick with the cluster grenade, the battle orders, Sparky with the critter swarm, the hack, and yada yada. Bullet with the drink, the taunt, and Kavan with the second win, which is his most popular one of them all. You can't really go wrong here, but you got to look long term, and I'll let Stone dive into that a little later. But you got to be careful. I don't even think necessarily you need a hero right out of the gate, as Stone would probably say. He actually told me that. But I think Kavan or Bullet is your best bet throughout the season, because Bullet's great with rocket choppers and heavy choppers, and Kavan's good with squishy troops like heavy Zuka, heavy bombardier, rifle Zuka, yada yada yada. So that's my take on it.
Yeah, so keeping that in mind, Stone, and then we move forward a little bit here. What do you think about kind of the day 1/opening path?
Yeah, and like OP said, you can sometimes think long term, and the best hero could be no hero. So the longer you can avoid one, then the more keys you have ahead. You can see right there, like there's a micro up ahead. A lot of splash defenses. So I don't know how long warriors are gonna last, especially since we don't have shocks till like 7 ER. I think there's Grens might be an option, but there's also some cool troops at 4 ER that we can deal with.
Yeah, so it's definitely a different kind of opening, and we've got this negative node right here in the middle, so if you do want to try to rush ahead, you do have to take that. Now, with there being no GBE this season, and no real gunboat abilities early on other than flare that we've seen so far. Maybe that's not that bad of a negative note, but yeah, certainly an interesting start as we move forward here into 4ER. Into 4ER OP. This is where things start to open up, and we got a couple different troop combos. What do you think of this?
Yeah, in 4ER, man, look, we got, we're introduced to some new troops, right? We got some armored, right? You got this beautiful red Scorcher up there. And then you got Squishy Rifle Zuka, right? Like, we've known in the past that there used to be, forgot what season. Stone could probably bring this up, where we had a Scorcher Zuka meta. And then, because we have no boom cannons and cannons right now. And so that could work. And then also Rifle Zuka has been strong, especially if you pick up Kavan. You could run a Rifle Zuka Kavan special. And there's no rockets or shock launchers yet. So, the world's open for any of those. So that's interesting. There's two different avenues you could take. And I mean, I don't know. I think once boom cannons and cannons come out later, I might want squishy troops, but because you got Kavan. I don't know. That's all I got to say about that.
Okay. What's also interesting is we've got two like complete blocks here. Like we see like different rabbit holes and stuff we can go down, but these are very clean kind of tech tree layouts so far. So there we go. As we move into 5 ERs, 5, 6, and then 7. Yeah, it's blocks the whole time. So as we move in 5 ERs, yeah, like you said, OP, we start to see some heavier defense. We finally got boom cannons. We've got everybody's favorite rocket choppers after last season. Cannons, mechs, kind of a lot going on here, Stone. What do you think?
Yeah, and unless you're a big fan of mechs, you might want to skip them. I have another proto, but there aren't that many this season. But with the heavier defenses, it might turn a little bit into like a, more dirty, potentially fizzle kind of meta. Because again, we still don't have shocks at this point. And you might notice we don't have critters either. Don't have critters this whole season. So kind of another ability we're going to be missing out on.
Wow, that's crazy. We got no tools in the tool belt, OP. So
I love it.
Yeah, you got to choose your troops wisely. I think maybe at this point, maybe Rifle Zuka's starting to look pretty good. Or I guess any of them can work. So it's kind of, you just got to take your risk with it. But anyway, so we move forward into 6ER, into the next little zone here, and we've got the big guns. We've got the heavy chopper, the shock launcher, we got the rocket launcher barrage, we got some DBD on its own node finally, and laser rangers. So what do you think starts to shine in this area, OP?
Well, I mean, coming into this area here, we finally unlocked the rockets with the greatest range in the game. Depending on how much DBD you have, and again, no shock bombs. They're going to be raining down on your squishy troops. Armored vehicles might be necessary at this point, whether you picked up tanks or Zukas. But the heavy choppers, we don't have heavies right away. They're not until after 7, so the heavy choppers will have level 1 heavies. They're an ultimate meat shield, I think, of all, because they drop heavies and they have a substantial amount of health. You got med kits there too. Unless the compacts roll out, I'm not sure. I mean, I know heavy chopper laser ranger Kavan has been a strong meta in the past. Maybe if you face a compact and you have heavy chopper laser, that could be an option. Because again, you have no shock bombs, so you need some hero at this point, in my opinion. And then you got barrage, but a barrage and artillery this season, without any GBE, I don't see it as a benefit other than just taking out a couple mines, maybe, unless you're farming a whole bunch of GB. But so yeah, I don't see flying troops being useful, especially rocket choppers with no shock bomb and critters especially.
Yeah, there's nothing to protect them at all, really, right? So that's 6. As we go into 7 in the final meta, we do have Seekers. We got everybody's favorite Seeker, Bomber, Critter Launcher, Heavy, finally shock bombs, more troop damage, and you're right, Stone, there's no critters at all. And we've got another negative node kind of in the middle here, depending on which play you want to go. So, Stone, what do you think the kind of end meta, or like what do you think all this like really adds up to what's going to be good here?
Yeah, they put like all the most fun, strongest tech at 7. So unless you're ER capped, you probably want to get to 7. And you can even check we have the ability node, and they have some cool options there. Like we get speed serum, so that could be fun. Remote hack, defib. I think because we have no GBE, I might delve into like an HC bomber, HC laser kind of meta, since there's not much you can do with seekers, even RCs without GBE. So bombers, we haven't had a bomber season in I think a few months, so I think it's a good change of pace.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It's gonna be, this season. There's not really anything different in terms of like troops or like. Well, I guess we get speed serum, which I wish they would not put at the end of the texture. Put speed serum in the beginning, and stuff like that. Like you said, like it's all the fun stuff they got all back here. But it's all the same stuff, but it's in a kind of a wacky order, and I think it's going to be really interesting. It's certainly a lot different than what we've seen, like you said, Stone, in the recent seasons. So next up, let's take a look at our decks. So we've got all of our decks here. If I can click on the picture. So starting off at 2 ER, we've got this little kind of totem pole, and people really aren't going to stay at 2 ER for too long, but I mean, if they're using Grens, they're kind of just throwing Grens right up the middle, or Warriors or whatnot. Do you guys have any thoughts on the first deck?
I won't even see it, I don't think, but I don't know. For those that do 2 ER, I think Grens, because it's just a tiny bottleneck there. Like any defenses there will be destroyed by Grens, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. 3 ER where all the meat and potatoes are going to be.
Yeah, 3R looks a little bit more interesting. Why don't you tell us about it, Stone?
Yeah, really. Well, it could be a defensive deck. Good thing you don't have that many buildings at 3, but you can just pile everything in that corner and force everyone to walk all the way across. 4, it kind of opens up a bit, so it's a little nicer. You can
Yeah,
land on both areas.
yeah, it's kind of similar, but it's a little bit bigger, and we got the 2 decks, so probably see some similar things at 4. 5 is where it really starts to open up, OP.
Yeah, there's a lot of little pockets here and there, and there's 2 ramps, almost a full-on, like both sides are open, but not. Yeah, a lot of options to deploy your units. I mean, you can do split drops, you can drop some on one side and another, and really kind of maximize the area you cover and win, because time's really the essence of winning every season, right? It's not about, unless it's a fizzle meta, but fizzle season. But no, yeah, 5's nice. It's open. It's just let everybody fly.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And then 6 and 7 are kind of interesting. I'll show them both together, and yeah, they're kind of the same deck.
Ooh,
But
I think it was 6 and 5.
yeah, you're right. Sorry, 6 and 5 were the same deck. But 6
Spot
has
the difference?
6 has the 1 deck, and 5 has the 2 decks. So even though they're pretty much the same, obviously having to land on the 1 ramp is going to slow you down a bit more than having the option of being able to attack it from multiple angles. And then what do you think of the final deck here, Stone?
Yeah, 7 opens up again, 2 landings. There's a little choke point on the right side, but I think it's not too bad. Again, if it's an HC bomber meta, you can just drop troops on both sides and let them clear through. Speed them up with serum.
That sounds fun. I like that final meta, what it potentially could shape up to be. So, yeah, if you guys want to see more of OP and Stone, make sure you check out the links in the description on both their channels. If you watch mine, I'm sure you already know who they are, but just in case you don't. And also, shout out to OP's friend DeGauzer for making, I believe, these beautiful deck images, OP.
The website they come off of, which is warships.acetech.cloud.
Okay, there you go. So you guys can check that out on the website if you want. And yeah, that's basically all I had. So OP, Stone, thank you guys for coming on. Appreciate you. Guys, that is going to wrap it up for the video today. Make sure to leave a like if you found it interesting, entertaining, or informative. Good luck this season, and we'll see you out there. Bye.